He found a mercenary's armor on a scrap heap. Then a voice behind him, "Put it back, or you're next." The scrap heaps of Karvik, 9 stretched for miles, a rusted ocean of twisted starship hulls, shattered mechs, and discarded weapons from wars long forgotten. To most scavengers, it was a graveyard. To Jonas Hale, it was survival. He picked his way through the wreckage with practiced eye, his boots crunching against broken plating. Anything could be sold if you knew the right buyer: a strip capacitor, a half-functional targeting array, even the shell casings of depleted plasma rifles. But today, something unusual caught his eye. Half buried beneath a collapsed cargo frame lay a suit of armor. Not just any armor, mercenary grade. Dark plate scarred by 100 battles, reinforced joints, the kind of tech built for killers who sold their lives to the highest bidder. Jonas crouched, brushing sand and rust from its surface. The helmet was still intact, its visor cracked but not shattered. He could almost feel the weight of the history it carried. "This'll fetch a fortune," he muttered. His hands gripped the chest plate, straining to pull it free. With a groan of metal, the armor came loose. Jonas grinned despite the sweat dripping down his temple. Then a voice behind him cut the air like a knife. "Put it back, or you're next." Jonas froze. The words were low, dangerous, too calm to be a bluff. He turned slowly. A shadow loomed atop a heap of twisted beams. A woman, tall, broad-shouldered, her figure outlined against the burning sky. Her eyes glowed faintly beneath the hood of a scorched cloak. In her hand, she held a plasma sidearm, aimed squarely at his chest. Jonas swallowed. "I didn't know it was claimed." "It's not claimed," she said. "It's curse." The word hung in the air, heavier than the silence that followed. She descended the heap with fluid, predatory grace, boots clanking on metal. When she reached the ground, Jonas saw her more clearly. Scars crisscrossed her face, her left arm gleaming with mechanical plating. And her voice, it carried the weight of someone who had killed more times than most had breathed. Jonas forced a laugh. "Curse? Lady, I've been digging through ship guts for 15 years. I've seen cursed reactors, haunted cryopods, even a crate of living worms that ate a manhole. Armor doesn't scare me." She tilted her head. That armor belonged to Dakar the Blooded. The name sent a shiver through Jonas before he could stop himself. Everyone in the outer rim knew it. Dakar, the mercenary who carved his legend across entire star systems. A butcher, a monster. "They say when he died," she continued, "his armor held on to him, wore the next fool who touched it, chewed him hollow from the inside out until nothing was left but screams in the comms." Jonas looked down at the plates in his hands. They suddenly felt heavier. "And you expect me to believe this?" he asked carefully. Her eyes narrowed. "You've already touched it. Tell me, does it feel cold?" Jonas blinked. Now that she said it, he realized his hands did feel numb, chilled even through his gloves. He dropped the armor with a curse, shaking out his fingers. The woman holstered her pistol, but didn't lower her guard. "You're lucky I found you before it finished what it started," she said. "Most don't get that chance." Jonas eyed her warily. "And what are you? Some kind of guardian? A priest of the dead mercenary god?" Her lips twitched, almost a smile but too bitter to last. "No, I'm the one who killed him." The silence that followed was deafening. "You?" Jonas asked, incredulous. "Dakar the Blooded? You expect me to believe one person took him down?" "I don't care what you believe," she said flatly. "But I'll tell you this. He didn't go easy. He swore as he bled out that he'd come back. Maybe not in flesh, but in steel. And he has." Jonas looked again at the armor, lying half buried in the dirt. For a moment, he thought he saw the visor flicker, as though something stared back. "Why not destroy it then?" he asked. Her jaw tightened. I've tried. Plasma, acid, even a black hole fragment. It won't break. The armor doesn't want to die. Jonas's scavenger instincts warred with his fear. A suit like this, cursed or not, was priceless. Weapons brokers would tear each other apart to own it. With the right bribes, it could buy him a new ship, a new life, maybe even a whole planet. But then the woman stepped closer, her voice dropping low. I see it in your eyes. You're thinking of selling it. Don't. She leaned in, close enough he saw the faint circuitry woven into the scars along her neck. You won't live long enough to spend a single credit. Jonas exhaled slowly. What's your name? Vera, she said. Something in the way she spoke, it told him not to laugh at the coincidence. Night fell over the scrap heaps. Against his better judgment, Jonas stayed with Vera. They built a small fire from shattered hull plating and stripped wiring. She told him the battle with Dakar, how he had carved through her squad, how she'd lured him into an ambush of collapsing terrain and driven her blade through his throat. She bore the scars, mechanical replacements grafted where flesh had been torn away. But even in death, she said, staring into the fire, he won't leave me. Every time the armor surfaces, I follow. Every time I bury it again, but it keeps crawling back. Jonas shook his head. That's not armor. That's a parasite. Vera looked at him then, eyes fierce. That's why no one touches it. In the dead of night, Jonas awoke to whispers. His eyes darted to the heap where they had left the armor. The visor glowed faintly red. The whispers were coming from it, low, guttural, tempting. We're me. Be more. Be feared. Jonas's breath caught. He rose, drawn like a moth to flame. His fingers hovered inches from the chest plate. He could almost feel the power, the promise of strength, of survival. Jonas. Vera's voice cut through the haze. She was awake, standing, weapon drawn. His hand trembled. He wanted to pull away, but the armor's voice slithered deeper into his thoughts. You'll never be weak again. Vera fired. The blast scorched the ground at his feet, jolting him back to himself. Jonas stumbled back, heart hammering. I wasn't. Yes, you were. Her eyes were cold. That's how it starts. At dawn, they buried the armor deep beneath slag and molten steel, sealing it under tons of scrap. Jonas helped, sweating under the weight of it all. When the last of the slag cooled, he turned to Vera. What happens when it comes back? Her expression was grim. Then we do it again. Jonas nodded slowly. He had come to Karvik, 9 for profit. Instead, he had found a curse and perhaps a cause. As they walked away from the heap, the whispers faded, but not completely. And in the silence, Jonas knew this wasn't the last time he would hear them.